Hey, this is Amol, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the ups and downs or the advantages and disadvantages of VoIP. VoIP is a lot more than just "Hey, can you hear me?" or "Sorry, I was on mute." So let's start with the advantages of VoIP. The one that we are all commonly aware about is the cost, right, or the savings. Now, VoIP is significantly much cheaper than traditional landlines, and simply because traditional landlines require equipments, hardware installation, setup costs, maintenance costs, right? But it's important to know how much more expensive are landlines than VoIP, right? So typically the difference runs into a few $100s to up to even $500 a month, right? If you're smart, you understand, right? That's probably as many as 500 slices of pizza in New York. So that's the first advantage of VoIP over landlines. The second advantage is portability, which is also an important advantage. Because VoIP runs off the internet, you can essentially take calls or make calls from almost anywhere. If you were a commodities trader in London, probably that's a big reason for you to worry, right? But if you're not, then that's perfectly okay. Now, the third advantage of VoIP over traditional landline is much better voice quality. If I was talking to you about much better voice quality 2 to 3 years back, then maybe yes, landlines had better quality. But today, trust me, VoIP has a lot better voice quality than traditional landline. The fourth advantage of VoIP over landlines is purely advanced features and capabilities, right? Now imagine yourself to be a doctor's office, and what VoIPs give you is the flexibility to identify if it's an existing patient calling or if it's a new patient calling, and then you can route those calls to different team members, right? But with traditional landlines, that's something that you can never do. I'm sure you've always wished for this, but it's always been difficult to achieve this, right? Because you can't integrate landlines with any software. But with VoIP, you have the flexibility to integrate with the CRM or an electronic health record system. So that's also another capability or an advantage of VoIP over traditional landlines. The fifth advantage of VoIP over landline is increased security. Now, when I talk about increased security, it's not just anything simple, right? VoIP platforms offer you increased security in form of access control, remote monitoring, encryptions, and trust me, landline security is almost as bad as security in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, right? Now, don't get me wrong, I love Jake Peralta, but that's the truth, right? Landline security is pretty bad in old age. Finally, the last and the most important advantage of VoIP over landline is that VoIP is far more scalable, right? Adding users to a VoIP platform is as easy as shooting a fish in the barrel. But adding users or scaling a landline is probably as hard as, making Hollandaise sauce. So you decide for yourself what's more scalable. Those really are all the advantages of VoIP over landline. And now let's talk a little bit about all the disadvantages of VoIP over landline. I'm sure you understand there's not always only good, right? There's also some things that you need to be aware about before deciding if it's landline versus VoIP, what works better for your business. There are three primary disadvantages that I can think of VoIP over landline. The first one is that it runs off the internet. So you've got to have great connectivity at all times. If you have bad internet connection, you'll probably see jittery voice and you'll probably see bad connection, right? That's not the case with landline. The second disadvantage of VoIP over landline is that VoIP also runs on power supply. So if you think you're in a place where you run out of power supply or you have you see power cuts often, which I don't think should be the case in 2025, then in that case, you're probably better off with landline. But I don't really see that as a disadvantage, to be perfectly honest, right? And the third disadvantage of VoIP over landline is that it does not yet support 911 emergency, right? So typically 911 emergency, if somebody's calling on a landline, the 911 emergency line looks at the location of the landline to decide where you are, right? Or to identify where you are. But that's not possible with VoIP. But in all honesty, I think all my votes go for a VoIP solution because with time, VoIP is progressing much faster, given that it's on the cloud, it can integrate with different platforms than landlines, right? So I'd definitely always opt in for a VoIP compared to landlines. So that's it for today. Follow our channel to keep yourself updated with all the other videos that we're going to come up. And if you're looking out for a VoIP platform, then reach out to us on emitter.com. It's emitrr.com.